name is Dr. Carlton A.G. Eversley. For the last 35 years, I have been pastor of Delaware Presbyterian Church here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, as well as 12 years teaching at Winston-Salem State University, 6 years at Wake Forest University Divinity School, and 3 years teaching at Carter G. Woodson High School. Well, I kind of smile when I think about a definition of spirituality because as a traditional person, I'm wrestling with the idea amongst a lot of young people as I'm spiritual but not religious. And I somewhat tongue-in-cheek say that's a person without the discipline to join a church and tithe. But spirituality in a broad sense is connecting with God, the Spirit of God. The Africans say that nobody has to show God to the child, it's in the wind. But I think also spirituality comes out of a community, a sense of what the community believes God is and how human beings ought to relate to God and to each other. What people refer to as higher power, like in the 12-step programs, I know as God, and as an Orthodox Afrocentric Christian, I see God as the Father of Jesus, who is the Christ. So I'm pretty, when I say Orthodox Christian, it just means you believe the Easter story, that Jesus was dead and God raised him from the dead. And as an Afrocentric person, I see God through the prism of the experience of African people in this country. Well, I believe that that God is alive and that we are in God and God is in all aspects of life. And particularly coming from the African American experience where we were taught by whites that God had ordained us to be enslaved to them and use the Bible, Genesis 9, the so-called curse of Ham story, Ephesians chapter 6, verse 5, servants be obedient to your masters, that black people had to hear that and understand that they felt that God was saying something totally different. My spiritual hero was a man named Howard Thurman, whose grandmother had been enslaved, and who taught him that every week the slave owners would give the same sermon from Ephesians chapter 6, verse 5, servants obey your masters. But she said that when they got their own black preachers off by themselves, they would be assured that you are not niggers, you are not slaves, you're God's children. So if we are God's children, then we cannot allow any human, satanic, or demonic force to make us less than who God created us to be. So in virtually every aspect of social justice and freedom, God is operative. Well, I think you almost have to make a decision. Howard Thurman says the first spiritual discipline is commitment. And the 3 questions of commitment is, who am I? What do I want out of life? And how do I propose to get what I want? So you have to decide, am I going to be a pessimistic person or an optimistic person? Am I going to be a faithful person or a faithless person? Because if you want to see evil and sin in the world, there's certainly plenty of evidence of that. But if you want to see heroism and courage and, as I say, people fighting for freedom and justice and equality, there are plenty of evidence of God's will and work in the world. In fact, I would go so far as to say wherever there is human oppression, it's never, as Thurman would say, final nor ultimate. There's always a growing edge of hope. This is all out of Howard Thurman, that there's someone who believes in peace. Now, we can think of great people like Gandhi and King, but we can just think of ordinary people doing ordinary things to make the world better. And when we see that, that's where God is.